Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are going to do something a little different.
A pivot, really.
Yeah, a big one.
Yeah.
Usually we take a topic, the history of coffee or the mechanics of black holes, and we kind of look at it from the outside in. We observe it. But today, we are turning the microscope around.
We're pointing it inward.
Exactly. We're asking a question that, and I'm not exaggerating here, might just change the way you hear your own voice for the rest of your life.
It's a heavy question to start the day with, isn't it? But it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Or I guess once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
That's the perfect way to put it. So here's the provocation. What if the sounds you make, and I'm not talking about the words you choose, not syntax or grammar, I'm talking about the simple hums, the clicks, the sharp intake of breath, the groan you make when you stand up from your desk.
Right, the pre-verbal stuff.
The pre-verbal stuff.
Yeah.
What if those aren't just biological byproducts? What if they aren't just tools for communication? What if they are the literal fundamental building blocks of consciousness itself?
It's a radical idea because we're so used to thinking of it the other way around. Language is something we invented to describe the world. We see a tree, we come up with the word tree.
The world comes first, the label comes second.
Exactly. But the material we're diving into today suggests the complete opposite. That sound is the engine that actually creates the world. Or at the very least, it creates the you that experiences the world.
And to guide us through this, well, we have this fascinating, incredibly deep, and frankly, pretty mind-bending source. It's a dialogue titled The Genesis of Sound, the First Mirror.
It's a series of exchanges between a thinker, a man named Karekin, and an AI, which is a whole other layer of interesting.
Right, but they're not just chatting. They are on a mission to decode what they call the mother's code.
And this mother's code is a synthesis of three fields that usually do not sit at the same table. I mean, they're not even in the same building.
Not even in the same city, probably.
Probably not. First, you have ancient Sumerian mythology, specifically the stories of these foundational goddesses like Namu and Inanna.
Okay, so myth.
Then you have the 36 phonemes of the Armenian alphabet, which this source treats not just as letters for writing, but as a biological blueprint for the human vocal apparatus.
So ancient linguistics, a very specific, very old language.
And finally, you have the hard science of facial expressions, Paul Ekman's work on facial action units, the actual muscles we use to signal emotion.
So you've got myth, a specific linguistic code, and modern biology. It sounds chaotic on paper.
It does. But when you start to follow the thread, they weave together to form this incredibly cohesive map. And the key to that map, the "you are here" star, is this central idea of the first mirror.
The first mirror. I love that term. It's so evocative.
It's a beautiful concept, and it really anchors everything we're going to talk about. It refers to that primary, fundamental feedback loop between a mother and her child.
Before words, before anything else.
Before anything else. A baby has sound, and it has facial expressions. The mother becomes the observer, and the child is the observed. The mother reads the child's face, the tension in the jaw, the widening of the eyes, and she interprets the sound that goes with it.
So the baby makes a noise, a cry, a gurgle.
And the mother reacts. She smiles, she frowns, she soothes. And in that reflection, the baby sees itself for the first time. It's the moment of, oh, I exist, I did that. That sound I made had an effect on the world. That's where the me begins.
So our mission today is to decode that reflection. We're going to trace how we move from just making noise to creating a meaningful signal.
We've got a roadmap. We're going to start in the deep, deep past, in the primordial waters of Sumerian mythos Namu, Inanna, and the theft of the divine blueprints.
Then we'll enter what the source calls the 36-pillar palace, a beautiful name for the Armenian phonetic code.
From there, we'll get into the biology of the mother's code, how she actually reads the face and the sound, the nuts and bolts.
And finally, we'll tie it all together with Karekin's personal journey. His story of feeling stuck between two worlds, which is surprisingly, and I mean this, surprisingly relevant to anyone who's ever had a job they felt conflicted about.
It's a huge arc, from the primeval seed to the modern-day sale of a business.
It is, but I think we can make the jump. Let's dive in. Part 1, the primordial foundations.
So if we're talking about the genesis of sound, we really have to start with the genesis of everything. And in the Sumerian world, that beginning point is a goddess named Namu.
Namu, she's the goddess of the primeval sea, isn't she? The Abzu.
That's right, the Abzu. She is the prime mover. Now, what's fascinating about Namu, and different from a lot of creation myths you might be familiar with, is that there's no partner. There isn't a sky god and an earth goddess who get together and create the world.
Oh, right. So there's no divine couple at the very, very start.
No. She is what the source calls the self-procreating womb. She alone gives birth to heaven, the god, and earth, the goddess key. She is the source, the water that was there before anything else existed.
And this is where the linguistics start to kick in, like right off the bat.
Yep.
The source immediately points out the connection to the phone M.
The M sound. Yeah, think about it. Namu, mother, mom, mama. It's one of the most universal sounds across human languages for that maternal figure.
And not just mother, but related concepts. Matter, matrix, from the Latin for womb.
It's all connected, and the source argues it's because of the physics of making that sound. I mean, try it right now. Just make the sound What do you have to do? You have to close your lips. The vibration is entirely internal. It resonates in your skull, your nasal cavity, your chest. It's not projected outward.
It's contained.
It's the sound of containment. It's the sound of the womb. The source has this amazing phrase for it: satiation within the womb. There is no other yet. There's just the self, fully contained, humming with potential. It's the hum of the universe before it splits open.
Satiation within the womb. I really love that because when you hum, it is a kind of self-soothing. It's a feedback loop with yourself.
It's a closed circuit. But, of course, things can't stay in that state forever. Civilization has to happen. We can't just stay in the primordial ocean.
And that brings us to, and she is one of my absolute favorite figures in all of mythology, Inanna.
Inanna, the queen of heaven. She's Venus, the morning and the evening star. And she is the complete opposite of Namu's calm, self-contained ocean.
Yeah, if Namu is potential energy, Inanna is.
Kinetic energy, purely kinetic. She is active, she is restless, she is ambitious, she is hungry. She represents that stage of evolving consciousness that wants to do things, to build, to rule, to know, to experience.
And she's the one who goes on the heist. This story is just wild. She decides her city, Uruk, needs to be the greatest city in the world. But to do that, she needs the me.
Okay, let's unpack this because the me are central to everything. They're pronounced may, by the way. And they're these divine decrees, or maybe a better word is blueprints.
Right, they're not just abstract ideas in the myth. They're treated like physical objects she can steal.
Exactly, like programs you can download and install to run a civilization. They're the source code.
And the list of what these me actually are is this incredible mix of the profound and the profane.
It really is. The source notes that the list includes these very noble concepts like kingship, truth, priesthood, wisdom.
But then right alongside them, you get things like prostitution, the destruction of cities, deceit, and the art of lovemaking.
It's everything. It's the entire spectrum of organized human experience, the light and the shadow. And Inanna wants them all. She wants the full download, no exceptions.
So what does she do?
She goes to visit Enki, the god of wisdom and water, who keeps the me in his city, Eridu. Eridu represents the old way, the nature-focused, water-based magic.
And she challenges him to a drinking contest.
She does. It's this great image, the young, ambitious goddess drinking the old, wise sage under the table. And in his intoxicated, generous state, he just starts handing them over.
Here, you want kingship, take it. You want lying? Sure, why not? Have heroism and fear while you're at it.
Precisely. She gets over 100 of them, loads them onto her boat of heaven, and takes off for her city, Uruk, before he can sober up and realize what he's done.
It's a divine action movie. He wakes up with a hangover and sends his demons after her.
He does, but she manages to escape. And symbolically, this is a moment as significant as Prometheus stealing fire. This is the theft of civilization.
It's the moment we shift from that nature-focused religion of Eridu to the urban, power-focused, ego-driven world of the city of Uruk.
It's the hunger of consciousness to possess knowledge, to take the self-contained M of the womb and organize it, structure it, build walls around it. It's the moment the ego is born and says, I want to be something, I want to build something.
And this is always the case in these stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't just you can't just build the ego up forever without some kind of correction. There has to be a balancing act.
There has to be a balancing act.
Oh.
And that leads directly to the second great story of Inanna, her descent into the underworld.
This is the psychological counterweight to the theft of the me. After all her success, she decides she wants to conquer the underworld too, the domain of her sister, Ereshkigal, the queen of the dead.
A cosmic sibling rivalry. But the underworld has rules. You don't just walk in. Specifically, it has 7 gates.
And to pass through these gates, she has to give something up at each one.
She has to surrender a piece of her power, a piece of the me she stole embodied in her royal regalia.
So let's visualize this. At the very first gate, she has to give up her crown.
Her crown, her Shigura crown, her connection to the heavens, her authority as queen, gone.
At the second gate, her lapis lazuli beads from her neck.
Which represents her voice, her ability to command and persuade, gone.
And it continues. Her breastplate, her ring, her measuring rod.
Her emotional protection, her worldly commitments, her power to build and define, all of it, stripped away piece by piece.
Until, by the time she reaches the seventh and final gate, she has to give up her royal robe, the last vestige of her identity.
And she enters the throne room of her sister, naked and bowed low. She has been stripped of every single ego attachment, every status symbol, every me she worked so hard to accumulate.
So what's the lesson there? Why does she have to go through this? It seems so brutal.
The lesson is that to find the deep truth, which is what the underworld represents, you cannot bring your ego with you. You can't bring your resume. You have to be reduced to your base ingredient.
It's the corrective journey.
It's the perfect corrective journey. You spend the first half of your life accumulating the me, the job title, the house, the reputation, the knowledge. But to understand your soul, you have to be willing to let it all go. You have to become naked again.
And it gets even more intense. She actually dies down there. Paresh Kigal fixes her with the eye of death and hangs her on a meat hook.
Gruesome, isn't it? She's turned into a piece of rotting meat. This is the literal death of the ego. It's not a metaphor anymore.
But this is a myth about cycles, so she is revived. But there's a price. Someone has to take her place. The underworld demands balance.
Exactly. And this introduces the final crucial piece of this Sumerian puzzle. A figure named Inanna.
Inanna. The source calls her the satiated Inanna.
Yes. So the short version is that after some drama, it's decided that Inanna's husband, Dumuzid, and his sister Inanna will share the burden. Each will spend half the year in the underworld.
But the key difference is how they approach this, right?
It's everything. Dumuzid has to be dragged down there. He hides. But Inanna volunteers. She willingly accepts her time in the dark.
So she's not like Gilgamesh, who spends his whole epic running away from death.
No. And she's not like Inanna in her first phase, who tries to conquer death. Inanna accepts the cycle of death and life. She creates what the source calls a shared destiny. She agrees to the balance.
And this is where that linguistic insight comes in that just blew my mind. The source connects her name to an Armenian root.
Yes. The root gishtit or gisht in Armenian means satiated or satisfied.
So if Inanna's hunger, the endless desire to consume and achieve Inanna is satiation.
She's the resolution. The hunger ends not when you get everything you want, but when you accept the natural limits, when you accept the cycle. She creates the balance that Inanna's theft disrupted.
Okay, so we have this powerful psychological arc laid out in myth. The contained mother, Namu, the hungry, striving ego, Inanna, and the balanced, satiated spirit, Inanna. But how do we actually hear this? How does this translate to the noises coming out of our mouths?
And that is the perfect bridge to part 2, the phonetic mat. The source posits that the Armenian language, and specifically the alphabet, functions as a kind of phonoarchaeological site.
A phonoarchaeological site. I love that phrase. It's like you're digging for ancient sounds instead of ancient pottery.
Precisely. The argument is that when Mesrop Mashtots designed the alphabet in 405 AD, he wasn't just creating a script for writing, he was creating a cosmic model. Each of the 36 letters is also a number, mapping the structure of reality. But more importantly for us, it's a physiological blueprint of the human voice box.
So each letter corresponds to a specific physical action in the throat, mouth, and lips.
A specific action that has a first-person meaning. This is key. It means that when you make the sound, you are not describing a state of being. You are enacting a state of being.
Okay, let's unpack this code. This feels like the core of it. Let's run through a few of the big ones. We have to start with the first letter, A.
A, the first letter. Physically, what do you do to make that sound?
You just drop your jaw. Your throat opens up completely is what the doctor tells you to do.
It's total release. There's no obstruction. It's the sound of the source. Pure emergence. It is the phonetic expression of I am here. It's the breath of life and the sky god entering the world for the first time.
Okay, so total openness. Now contrast that with M.
M, we already touched on this with Namu. Physically, the opposite happens. Your lips seal. The sound vibrates internally. It's contained.
Just says, I am within.
Exactly. It's the mother. It's matter. It is internal satiation. So you have A, the arrow shooting out into the world, and M, the shield holding everything in, the two primordial poles.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about G? The source calls this one the ground.
Oh, gee. Make the sound in your throat. Goo. Feel that.
Yeah, it's a hard stop, way in the back.
It's a glottal stop, a hard strike at the root of the tongue. It's the sound of spirit hitting the floor. It's the phonetic embodiment of ground, grip, gravity. It stops the airflow of A. It creates a solid boundary.
I can feel that. It really anchors the breath. It gives it a floor. Okay, what about a sound like L?
Hell. The liquid. Physically, your tongue tip touches the roof of your mouth just behind your teeth, and the air flows around the sides. Lil.
It's a flow.
It's pure flow. It's light. It's liquid. The source has this beautiful description, licking the sky. It's the sound that connects things. It's a fluid state that can exist between the open A and the solid G.
And finally, what about R? The rolled R.
The trill. Rrr. It's the engine. It's the sound of perpetual motion, of vibration, of the cycle of the sun. It's the frequency that keeps everything moving and energized.
So we have these building blocks. The open source, the contained womb, the solid ground, the liquid flow, the vibrating engine. And the source does this incredible thing where it synthesizes them to decode that word we talked about earlier, gesht, for Inanna.
This is the real aha moment in the text. This is where it all clicks. If you take the phonetic meanings we've just discussed and you string them together, you get a sentence.
A sentence in sound.
A sentence in sound. So let's do it. G is the root or the ground.
Right, the hard stop.
Shh. The sound you make when you say shh is a sound of silence or hushing.
Okay.
And D is a dental stop. Your tongue presses hard against your teeth. It represents the limit or the stop.
So GSH.
GSHD literally translates to the root finding quiet at the limit.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, hold on. Satiation, satisfaction, is the state where the root, your foundation, finds quiet at a boundary.
It is the phonetic formula for contentment. It's not about endlessly consuming like Inanna. It's about reaching a natural limit and being at peace with it, finding silence there.
That is beautiful, and it's written right into the sound itself. So this brings us to the actual mechanism of how we learn this stuff. How does a baby figure this out? Which leads to the first mirror.
This is part 3, the mother's code. And the idea is that the mother is the first observer, the first decoder. She looks at the baby and she reads what the science calls the baby's action units.
Right, action units from the facial action coding system, or FACS. It's the objective way of mapping facial movements. A raised eyebrow is one action unit, a tightened lip corner is another.
And the mother, without any training, is an expert at reading these. She reads the baby's face combined with the sound it's making. She's the first decoder ring that tells the baby what its own signals mean.
The source highlights a few specific sounds that are, let's say, biologically supercharged. And the first one is the JJJ sound.
The JJJJ. In Armenian, this corresponds to the letters Z or che. I mean, try making that sound. Feel what your jaw does. J. JJ. JJ. Yeah, you have to grind your back teeth. There's a lot of tension there. It is tension. It's friction. The source calls this the weight of time or the internal friction of sovereignty. It's the sound of a child begrudgingly accepting a limit. It is the sound of I want running into the wall of you must.
Oh, I recognize that sound immediately. It's the sound my kid makes when I say no more screen time. It's not a word. It's just this low, frustrated hum, JJJJ.
Exactly. And the mother hears that JJJ hum, and she sees this tense jaw, which is action unit 26, and she knows immediately what's happening. The child is processing the no. They are feeling the friction of the world, the gravity of a rule. They are learning about time and limits.
It's the sound of Inanna's hunger hitting a wall. Okay, so JJJ is friction. What about the TS sound? The source describes this one as more explosive.
The TS. In Armenian, the letters are sa or sa. You put your teeth together and you force a sharp hiss of air through. Tss.
It's like a snake or a spark.
Both. In Armenian, the word for snake is ots, and the word for horse can be tsi. It's this high-pressure, penetrating sound.
And the source connects this to geometry, to the vesica piscis.
Yes, the shape formed by the intersection of two circles. The TS is the sound of one circle penetrating another. It's the bull plowing the earth. It represents a creative spark, an idea clicking into place.
So when a mother sees that TS face, the teeth together, the eyes wide with excitement, she knows the child has had a breakthrough.
She knows the child has had a spark.
Yeah.
It's the sound of a connection being made, a penetrating thought.
So we have the JJJ of friction and time, and the TS of the creative spark. But then there's the sound E, and the source talks about the law of polarity with this one.
This is a crucial concept. The idea that every frequency, every sound contains its opposite. It can express two ends of a spectrum. Take the sound E.
E.
At its peak intensity, with your eyes wide and your face tense, E is a shriek of terror. It's the sound of Inanna facing the eye of death in the underworld. It's the sound of, I am about to be destroyed.
But at the low end of the spectrum.
At the low end, E is a giggle. It's glee. It's the Duchenne smile, the real smile where your eyes crinkle up. It's the sound of pure joy a child makes when recognizing their mother's face.
So it's the exact same phonetic sound, but the intention and the facial expression completely flip its meaning from terror to joy.
And this is where it can get dangerous. This is what the source calls the danger zone, the sarcastic grin.
Oh, the sarcasm face. We all know that one.
We do. And biologically, what is happening there? You are making the facial shape of a grin, which signals joy, the E sound, but you are combining it with clenched teeth, which signals the JJJ of friction and frustration.
It's a mixed message. It's a conflict of signals. I'm smiling, but I'm grinding my teeth.
Exactly. I'm showing you joy, but I'm feeling friction. It blocks the pure spirit. The observer, the mother, reads that instantly as a disconnect. It's not a clear signal anymore. It's noise.
So the goal of this whole system, this mother's code, is to keep the signal clear, to resolve that noise. And the source suggests that the very name, Armenia, is a code for this architecture of the soul.
This is part 4, where we zoom out and look at the larger structure. The source deconstructs these foundational Armenian words. Let's start with the concept of one, the word meg.
Meg means one.
Right. But now let's break it down phonetically based on the code we've learned. M is potential, the womb.
Kink.
E is existence, the sound of isness.
Okay.
And G is solid earth, the ground.
So MEG, potential becomes earth.
The entire journey of creation from the void to physical reality is contained in the single syllable for one. One isn't just a number. It's a sentence describing creation.
That is seriously cool. It's like a zip file. Okay, what about Haik? He's the legendary founder of the Armenian people.
Haik is the progenitor, but his name is also a blueprint. H is the unvoiced breath, the spiritus.
The beginning of breath.
AI is a diphthong that represents a cycle, like the transition between autumn and spring.
A movement.
And K is that hard glottal stop at the back of the throat, the axis mundi, the anchor.
So Haik, the conscious breath moving through a cycle and anchoring in the earth.
And the source notes that the word for mirror in Armenian is Haley. Haik is the mirror of identity. He stands as the vertical axis of the self.
And this all leads up to decoding the big one, AR, Amo.
AR. This is a massive, powerful root. AR is the solar engine. It's the sound in the word for sun, Erev. But it's also the root of the verb to do or to make. It is action. It is the creator, error-rich. It's the act of giving.
Okay, AR is the active solar creative force.
And men. And this is the mind. It's related to mandala, memory, mentality. It's the receptive structuring principle.
So if you put AR and men together,
You get the children of the solar mind, or the sun-minded people. It describes a consciousness that is a synthesis of the active giving sun, AR, and the receptive structuring mind, NN.
it's the balance again. It's the same pattern. Inanna, the active force, needs Kestinana, the receptive balance. The sun gives, the mind receives and structures.
Precisely, and the source takes it one step further to the word for infant.
Manu.
Break it down. MN is the root for mind, and UG is a suffix meaning vessel or container.
So the child is the small vessel of the mind.
The small vessel of the mind. It's the dawn light of consciousness poured into a physical body.
It's so poetic, but it also feels incredibly precise. It feels like we're looking at the schematics for a conscious machine, not just a random collection of words.
That is the core argument of the source, that this isn't random. It's a code, a mother's code, designed to help us keep the signal clear.
And this brings us full circle back to the personal, to part 5. Because this isn't just an abstract theory. This is the lived experience of Karekin, the person in this dialogue.
Yeah.
And he visualizes this entire struggle as being balanced on his two shoulders.
This is a very powerful and personal visualization he shares. He describes his common ground, his own internal vesica Pisces, as being the space between two figures. On his left shoulder, he says, sits the village idiot.
The village idiot. Tell me about this character.
This was a real childhood friend of his from when his family were refugees in Cyprus. A boy the world saw as limited or simple, but Karekin sees him as the pure spirit.
So he represents Namo.
He represents Namu. He's the one who talks to the animals. He speaks the language of the birds. He's all A&M, all open source and contained joy. He never developed the JJJ of friction because the world's rules never really applied to him.
He never had to surrender his ego at the Seven Gates because he never built that kind of ego to begin with?
Exactly. He is the fool in the tarot deck, the pure, innocent spirit at the start of the journey.
And on the right shoulder.
On his right shoulder is his mother, and she represents structure, law, survival. She is the G, the solid earth. She's the one who taught him how to survive as an immigrant in America, how to navigate the business world in England. She taught him the discipline of the JJJ, how to grind it out to succeed.
So Karekin's identity is the space between them, the pure, wild spirit on the left and the structured, disciplined law of survival on the right.
He is the intersection of those two circles. He's trying to find the balance between them.
And in the middle of this dialogue, something huge happens in his life that brings this all to a head. He sells his business.
This is the climax of his personal myth. And selling the business is described as the ultimate AR move. He is acting, creating, authoring his own liberation.
And the source connects this to a specific Sumerian word, amagi.
Amagi. It's the earliest written word we have for the concept of freedom, but its literal translation is return to the mother.
Wow.
Yes.
That is profound. So freedom isn't escaping to some unknown place. It's returning to the source, returning to Namu.
It's returning to the state of Meg, of oneness. By selling his business, Karekin is consciously choosing to transition from the world of JJJ, the constant grinding friction of the marketplace, the deals, the deadlines, the stress, to the world of L.
The liquid light, the flow.
He is taking off the royal robes one by one, the title of CEO, the responsibilities, the identity of the businessman.
He says it himself in the dialogue. Finally, the king has no clothes.
And we usually think of that story, The Emperor's New Clothes, as a story of public embarrassment. But here, it's a triumph.
Because just like Inanna at the seventh gate,
he has stripped away the status. He has let go of the me he spent his life accumulating. And when the king has no clothes, he is finally equal to the village idiot on his other shoulder.
the mind on the right shoulder and the spirit on the left shoulder can finally meet in the middle. They are vibrating at the same frequency.
They are greshid. They are satiated. The root has found quiet at the limit.
So after this entire journey, what does this all mean for us? For the listener who is maybe driving to work right now or doing the dishes, stuck in their own JJJ grind.
It means that these blueprints of consciousness, they aren't just ancient stories on clay tablets. They're living vibrations in your own throat right now.
We're running this code every time we speak.
Every single time. When you say no and you feel that tension and grind your teeth, you are feeling the JJJ of Inanna's frustrated hunger. When you have that spark of a new idea and you hiss yes, you are channeling the creative TS of the serpent. And when you hum to yourself quietly, you are returning to the primeval sea of Namu.
We are all walking, talking phono-archaeological sites.
We are. And the lesson from the Mother's Code, from that first mirror, is to pay attention to the clarity of your signal. Are you stuck in the JJJ of grinding friction? Or are you ready to engage the Tev, that's the Armenian word for wing, and take flight?
Are you communicating with that clenched teeth grin of sarcasm sending out a mixed, noisy signal?
Or are you brave enough to be the king with no clothes, to be naked, to be honest, and to find that satiation?
That's the challenge, isn't it? To find that common ground in your own life, to find the balance point between the village idiot and the mother within yourself, to let your own root find quiet at the limit.
And ultimately, I think to realize that you are the author, the Eric, the creator of your own reality. The codes are right there in your own biology. You just have to learn to speak them clearly.
From the primeval sea to the solar engine, all within our own voice. Karekin's journey is a powerful reminder that we all have that capacity for amaji, for that true freedom, the return to the mother. Thank you for taking this incredibly deep dive with us.
It was a pleasure, a truly fascinating source.
Until next time, keep listening to the signal. And try, if you can, to tune out the noise.